it's that time again for another edition of the Coach's Corner, the show where we get you caught up on Roadrunner sports. We're here at the Tivoli Tap House on the Auraria campus. Feel free to come by every Monday from 5:30 to 6 p.m. to join us as we simulcast with the Met Sports Show, flagship sports show on MetRadio. I'm Stephen Priest, and alongside me today is my usual cohort, Hector Venegas. Brendan Stoll absent today, but on the show we have men's and women's head tennis coach with us, Daniel Hangstefer. Tell us what the group does in the fall season to get ready for the RMAC season in the spring. And speaking of fall season, head baseball coach Jerrid Oates will join us to give us the 4-1-1 on his squad, and men's soccer coach Jeremy Tittle will also be with us to tell us about how the boys are coming off of a big 5-2 win over CSU Pueblo yesterday. But before we bring in those head coaches, let's quickly recap this past weekend. We'll start from the pitch as our men's soccer team looked to rebound off a tough 1-0 loss to UC Colorado Springs last Wednesday, and boy did they after netting 5 goals in the rout over CSU Pueblo. Fourth-year senior Nolan Barth scored his first collegiate goal, while senior Jeff Gillis found the back of the net twice. The women's soccer squad found themselves playing in back-to-back double overtime games this past weekend. Both ended in draws, including a 2-2 final against Westminster College at home this past Sunday. Senior defender Alexi Marr scored her first goal on the season while assisting on the other one. The cross-country team hosted their annual MSU Denver Invitational at Washington Park this past weekend. The women's team finished 3rd overall at the meet and were led by Erica Ruiz, who finished 12th overall in a time of 23 minutes and 11 seconds in the 6K race. The men outraced 3 regional opponents to take first place in the 8K competition. Brandon Karagi, who we had on our show earlier this season, was stellar, crossing the line in 4th place in a time of 26 minutes and 27 seconds. 4 Roadrunners finished in the top 10 to prepare for themselves the regional meet that will take place on that same field on November 5th. And volleyball, of course, head coach Jenny Glenn and her squad continued their winning ways, defeating CSU Pueblo and New Mexico Highlands at home this past weekend. Brandy Torr reached an incredible milestone of 4,000 assists during this weekend, and she currently sits alone in 2nd place behind MSU Denver and RMAC Hall of Famer Devin Herron. And we now bring in head coach for the tennis squads, Daniel Hangstefer, to bring us up to date on his tennis teams. Coach, thanks so much for taking out the time today to join us first and foremost. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Let's get right into it. Coach, you enter your 4th year with the Roadrunners. How has your time here been at MSU Denver, and how's the school treated you thus far?
You know, this is a great place to be. I enjoy it. You know, you can't beat being in Denver. We've got a great facility. We're kind of on the upswing right now. We're building a great program. We're just trying to take one day at a time right now, so that's where we're at right now.
Can you describe to us the difference between what your team does in the fall and what they might do in the spring in terms of competition-wise?
Yeah, so in the fall we have a little bit of I guess a mini season is what you call it.
Okay.
We play about probably 5 or 6 weekends in the fall.
Okay.
Our primary season in the spring. So, you know, we'll play all spring, go most of the weekends in the spring, but the fall is more kind of geared toward just trying to build the team, bring it together, trying to figure out what we need to work on and things like that. So,
now a few weeks ago your squad hosted the MSU Denver Invitational. First, tell us how your women did. We know junior Courtney Wright took home the championship and had to take on a few Roadrunners along the way.
Yeah, so it was, you know, that was one of my goals in that tournament since I've started it 4 years ago, was to kind of dominate that tournament.
Right.
And I think over the last 3 years that we hosted it, I think we want to combine 3 championships. I think this year we won 7 out of 11 championships, so we more than double what we won over the last 3 years combined. So you can definitely tell we're getting better. We had an all MSU Denver final in the women's A flight. We had an all MSU Denver final in the women's B flight. We had an all MSU Denver final in the men's C flight. And then we also had an all MSU Denver final in the women's A doubles flight. So it was a great showing by our teams.
Now talk about how tough it is for teammates to play against each other. Obviously they practice against each other, but when it comes to a match and something of that type of intensity, talk about what kind of difficulty that might present.
I think first and foremost you got to have mature players on your team to be able to handle that, because everybody wants to win, and everybody has to compete at their hardest and their highest level. And I think we did that. I think we handled it in a very mature way, but we went after each other. I mean, nobody wants to lose, and that's a good sign. So, they competed hard against each other, and they fought at the level that we were looking for, and I think it turned out the way that we wanted it to turn out. So.
Now, Coach, talk about the men for just a second. Senior Josh Greats, we know, won the championship, defeated a player from UNC Greeley. Talk about his weekend and a few other players from your men's squad. They all kind of showed out and had a good tournament.
Yeah, so Josh, he's a great leader in our program. We are in the process of getting him a red shirt from last year, so he'll have this year and another year to play. So, I'm looking forward to having him again back next year. But the biggest thing for him is he spent the summer just really getting healthy, and he worked all summer on just improving his game. And he had a great tournament. He played, I think, a very tough player in the finals, and ended up coming out on top. I mean, the guy that he played in the finals had wins over guys from Denver University and a couple other really good players. And Josh fought well. He competed very smart and ended up winning that match. So I was very proud of him.
And then, Coach, how do doubles work? Do you pair them up? Do they pick themselves, or is it week by week kind of basis?
Good question. So I take a lot of different factors into account. I usually decide on that. I do take input from players, but I try to match up personalities. I try to match up level. I try to match up weaknesses and strengths of each player. Some players are better playing on the ad side or the backhand side. Some are better playing on the forehand side. So we kind of take those into account when I'm trying to put doubles teams together.
And then, Coach, in the last few weeks, your squad competed in the regionals. What does that tournament entail, and what type of opponents did you face there?
The ITA regionals?
Yeah.
So the ITA regionals, what that is if you win that tournament, you go on to nationals. And so those 8 regions in tennis, and they take the winner from each region to nationals. So there's 8 players at nationals. So the goal is to win that tournament, obviously. So as the best teams in the region go and play that tournament, they square off head-to-head against each other individually. It's a great kind of barometer for us to see where we're at in the fall, so that we know what we need to work on going into the spring.
And then, talking about going into the spring, how tough is it playing the RMAC? What kind of competition do you see in that conference?
It's a good question. I think there's always going to be teams in our conference who want to win it, and we're trying to win it. So we'll see where we're at. We got some matches this weekend coming up, and we'll see how we do against Colorado Mesa. I think they're going to kind of be our big one, but we'll go and we'll see where we're at after this weekend.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for taking out the time today to join us and hang out with us. We wish you and your squad the best of luck going forward.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you, Coach.
We will take a quick break, and when we come back, we will interview head baseball coach Jerrid Oates next here on the Roadrunners Coach's Corner.
Dobinson stops on a dime, now to Cortez. The Cortez beating, count the bucket, and a foul.
If you can't get enough of MSU Denver sports, then you need to tune in to the Roadrunner Review. Get into the game with exclusive highlights, interviews, player stories, and of course the top plays that will have you jumping out of your seat. You can catch all the action on Comcast CET and at RoadrunnersAthletics.com.
Hey, nice shot! Great spot!
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Brought to you by your #1 volume Nissan dealer, Tynan's Nissan. Come in today and choose from nearly 1,200 new Nissans. Get 0% for 72 months with no payments for 90 days. During the Bottom Line event, lease the new Altima for only $149 per month. Gives you both efficiency and performance. Looking for an SUV? Then choose the all-wheel drive Rogue at just $159 per month. Also available with optional third-row seats. Bottom Line savings at Tynan's Nissan in Aurora and Fort Collins.
We're back here live at the Tivoli Tap House. Stephen Priest, Hector Venegas here with you for the Roadrunners Coaches Corner. Remember, you can keep up with all of MSU Denver sports by going to roadrunnersathletics.com. We are now joined by baseball head coach, 6-year head coach, Jerrid Oates, taking the time out to join us on the show. Thanks so much, Coach, for joining us. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, let's get things started. So your conference season takes place during the spring semester, but you do have some stuff going on during the fall. Talk to us a little bit about what kind of competition you might see during that fall season.
So during the fall, we get to play a couple outside competitions. So last weekend we played Garden City Community College. Weekend before that we played Lamar Community College, and then we'll do some inter squads. We'll end our fall with a World Series between our guys, splitting them up into 2 teams and playing a 3-game set.
Now during this time, what are you looking for? In returners, guys like Hunter Donaldson, Jake Thurston? I know they know the system, but what do you expect to see from them in fall ball?
Yeah, it's really the key to the fall is being able to get out and get the system, put into our program, offensively, defensively, pitching wise, and start getting the guys into shape. We get into our individual work more once our fall is done, but really the fall is kind of dedicated to the team, making sure that our offensive system's in, our defensive system's in, and the pitchers start getting their arms back into shape, right, and starting to extend them inning-wise so that they're getting their work in.
Now, how does that differ from some of the newer recruits, the incoming freshmen or transfers that you might have coming in?
For those guys, it's learning everything. It's literally learning how we throw, our dynamic program, our bunt defenses, our first and thirds, and our older guys have done a great job of really leading that. They do a great job of explaining, helping the new guys out. That way, then once our fall ends, our goal is once our fall ends, that our system's totally in. So if we do get back in January and we got a foot of snow on the field and we're stuck inside, we don't have to be putting in a bunt defense or anything like that. It's already there, it's installed, and all we have to do is, when we're inside the gym, is just review it and make sure that everybody remembers where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to do.
Now, as a head coach, how do you assess fatigue for guys like this who play maybe in 50 games in the spring? How do you kind of gauge what they're doing in the fall to really make sure that they're rested and fully ready to go during the spring?
For us, a lot of the management comes in the summertime. If certain guys shouldn't be playing in the summer, we shut those guys down. Once the fall hits, it's kind of all on. I mean, we're in the weight room. We have full practices going, all of that. So the guys that played a ton in the spring, we try and manage that through the summertime, where we don't send them out to play, or they play limited innings, limited innings, limited at-bats. And then other guys that maybe didn't play a lot in the spring, we try and get them out so they, so that they can log 40 innings on the mound, or get 80 at-bats or whatever it is in the summertime. So it's a little bit of a juggling act between the guys that were everyday guys for us and the guys that kind of played, spottingly throughout the spring.
And then, Coach, first of all, if you need a reliever pitcher, tweet up some innings, you let me know.
I will do that. I'll do that.
No, but let's talk about your pitcher from last year, Julian Garcia. Obviously got drafted by the Phillies, so it's a huge moment for the team last year and the team going forward. Can you just talk a little bit about him to us?
Yeah, Julian did a great job for us. I think he really worked his way up the draft board last year as the season went along. And then, he went to the Phillies in the 10th round, which is a pretty high pick, especially for a Division II guy. And he worked for that. That was Julian's biggest thing. His work ethic was second to none, and ultimately that was his goal, was to get drafted. And he had the fastball and the breaking ball to get the opportunity. He went to short A out in Pennsylvania, Williamsport. He threw well there. He made some starts. He's kind of up and down on the starting side of it, but once they moved into the bullpen, he did a great job. That finished up, and he came back. He's in school. working towards his degree. So he's got that going, and right now he's down in instructional league down in Florida with them, which is a compliment on what he did this summer, that the Phillies wanted to bring him back so he could get another 4 weeks worth of work in. So he's going to finish that up, I believe, in another week, and then he'll be back in here finishing up school for the semester, and then whenever he gets his report time for spring training, then he'll head down there.
Coach, I think, how is that for the rest of the team to see when a person they play along with, make it to get drafted?
I think it was it's a compliment to those guys. It's exciting for those guys because everybody's got that dream. You want that opportunity to be able to play at the next level, and if you don't get it, but one of your guys, that you've trained every day with gets that opportunity, it really kind of lifts you a little bit, and it's pretty cool to be able to sit there and watch him all summer and watch what he did, through the good times and the bad times, because he had both of those. But he's got a great support group from his teammates around here that he can kind of fall back on when times weren't the best, and I think Julian really likes that too. That gives him some people who know Julian, not just this pro guy playing pro ball, but they know Julian as a person and as a human being, and so it's good for Julian to kind of have some guys that he can fall back and trust, when the times maybe aren't the best, and then celebrate when the times are going good.
And Coach, has that helped you recruiting? Having a pitcher?
Yeah, it always does. It always does. If you get a guy drafted, it's going to help you. People are going to pay attention. You always get that when you bring recruits on of, how many guys have you had drafted or this, that, and the other. And, be able to say we had a guy go in the 10th round definitely helps that side of it.
And then, Coach, switching gears a little bit, you just had your annual alumni game. Mm-hmm. How did the old guys do?
They did okay. Kind of how we do. We actually don't do a game anymore because of that reason, because they are old. But we had a great 2-day event. We had a home run derby on Friday night and a social hour, and then Saturday morning we went out to the golf course and knocked some golf balls around. But it was a good event. We increased our numbers from the year before, and hopefully we can just continue to grow it.
They still put the ball over the fence?
Yep, they did. They did.
And then, Coach, you played catcher in college. What's about the catcher position that translates so good to being a coach or being a manager?
You see it a lot in our game. Even in softball, Coach Van was a catcher too, and I think there's just a little bit of when you're the catcher, you're the quarterback on the baseball field, so you kind of run the show, and that kind of transitions into the coaching side of it.
And then, Coach, do you miss taking foul balls off the face mask or no?
No, I don't. I don't miss any of that. I don't miss catching bullpens. I don't miss taking balls off the face or any of that. I'm good right where I'm at. I fit well in the dugout now.
Well, Coach, we want to wish you the best of luck going forward. We can't wait till the season starts in the spring, and thanks for taking out the time tonight to join us.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you,
Make
Coach.
sure you stick around, because coming up next, we're going to be joined by head soccer coach Jeremy Tittle, and he's going to talk about that big win this past weekend. You don't want to miss that here on the Roadrunners Coach's Corner.
The Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference is committed to sportsmanship.
We take pride in the conduct of our student athletes and coaches,
and ask that everyone, coaches, athletes, and spectators, treat opponents and officials with respect.
We encourage you to cheer for your favorite team.
Unruly, threatening, or obscene behavior will not be condoned.
Thank you for your cooperation and support.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division II, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
Hi, this is Wellington Webb, former mayor of Denver, Colorado from 1991 to 2003. I was so pleased to receive an honorary doctorate from Metro State University. It's been a great highlight of my life. And I also want to take this opportunity to say happy birthday to you on your 50th anniversary.
Are you a college student that needs a place to live? Are you still living with your parents and want your own space? The Regency Student Housing is perfect for you. The community offers many amenities such as a fitness center, 2 basketball courts, big screen amphitheater, all-you-can-eat dining hall, bowling alley, arcade, free parking, and a shuttle to and from the Auraria campus. For more information, please call 303-477-1950 or visit our website at regencystudenthousing.com.
Thanks for sticking with us here on the Roadrunners Coaches Corner. Stephen Priest, Hector Venegas here with you, and now we're joined by our favorite coach, as this is his 3rd time coming on the show with us. He always gives us such great insight on his squad and everything. Coach Jeremy Tittle, men's soccer coach. Coach, thanks so much for taking out the time again to join us. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right, Stephen. Thanks.
Well, let's talk about first last Wednesday's game against UC Colorado
Springs.
Can we not? First, it was a short turnaround, first and foremost, for you and your squad. Does that kind of hamper you guys as a team, and does that make things tough on you as a head coach to have that short turnaround?
Well, it's a different rhythm for sure.
Right.
Playing 3 games in 6 days and then 4 games in 9 days. It happens once a year. It happens for every team in the RMAC. So I don't know that, whatever challenges it presents them equally to everybody. We have a plan that we go through every year. It's different. It's a different rhythm than any other time. And we just adjust our rhythm to it, and the players know what to expect, and we work our process for it.
Now, give us your thoughts on this game on the road. It looked as if you guys were controlling the pace, had the better scoring opportunities, even was up a man. UCCS got a red card in the 68th minute, but in the end, it was the Mountain Lions who scored a last one, a very close goal towards the end of the game. Talk about that one a little bit for us.
Talk about the last goal? Or?
Yeah, or just the game as a whole, yeah.
Well, I've never heard many people talk about saying soccer's a game of inches, but we hit the bar a few times. We missed several good chances, 1v1 with the goalkeeper by inches. But it was, I give credit to UCCS. They hung in there, and we didn't take care of it when we had our chances to, and then we let them hang around long enough that they ended up hurting us in the end. But, what was equally bothersome to us about the loss was that not just that we lost, but that we didn't feel like we played the way we want to play. We felt like we played the way they wanted to play. And I don't think we had a player play poorly. We just didn't like the ideas we used for how we want to play.
Gotcha. Now, switching gears a little bit into the game against the Thunderwolves, CSU Pueblo really came out firing. They go up and score up. They put up some scoring opportunities on your defense in the first half. Did they come out with a good game plan to attack you guys, or was it just some defensive miscommunications that was going on?
I don't know if it was either of those really, but I give credit to Pueblo. We played them in the preseason. They played really well against us in the preseason in that game. So they're a physical, competitive, spirited team, and we know that like UCCS, that they had a competitive match against each other on Friday night. It was a close game, and sometimes you let teams hang around a little bit, and it was close, and we decided in the second half that we didn't want to have a close game anymore.
Right. Well, you mentioned it. It was 1-1 at the half. Then you come out and score 4 goals in the final 45 minutes. What was that halftime speech like to light the fire?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to give myself all the credit there for a halftime speech, but so I did challenge them. I did challenge them that we're not going to have 2 games in a row where we show up and not be who we want to be and play the way we want to play and imprint into the game the way we want to play. And they decided that, oh yeah, that's who we are, that's what we want to do, and they go out and do it. And when we do how we're designed to do and they buy in and execute it, we're going to get that every week. When we don't, we're going to get the other side of that. So they see it real clearly, and I'm convinced that going forward, our guys are going to have remembered this little stretch of these games, 4 games in 9 days, and we were good on the front end of it. We had a hiccup in the middle. We closed it out on the back end, and now we're back into our regular rhythm again.
And then, Coach, Jev netted 2 goals, and Dimitri had a goal and an assist. But let's talk about the real star, senior Nolan Barth. Part of your defense for 4 years. Finally gets his first college goal. What was the team like? Everybody was going crazy. We would have celebrated with you guys, but how was it for you guys on the team?
Yeah. I thought he had a great celebration for that thing, and then I thought that when I saw it. But then when I watched the clips today, I was like, wow, I missed a few things that you guys zoomed in on, that I got some really good up close and personal. It was a great celebration. And he told me today when I was saying how proud I was of him, he said, it was my first goal, and I wanted to make sure I set a really good standard for what a celebration looked like. So it was a good time. And it was a fantastic play. Nolan's been playing really, really well in the past 2 weeks. He started the season solid for us. We changed his position. He got excited about that. It was something that he was more accustomed to playing back when he was a club player. And he's just been growing and growing and growing in the past few weeks. So I'm not surprised that he's capped off this nice run with a goal now. And he's been instrumental in setting up some other stuff for us. So we're looking forward to good things from him in the future.
Well, Coach, it was a pleasure to have you. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Good luck to you and your squad. They're always fun to watch. They always play hard for you. So we can't wait to see what you guys do.
Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, Hector. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Coach.
And hopefully I can keep my popularity by just showing up and attending these things with you guys.
You've already got it on lock. Pizza's a close second, but you've got it on lock.
Well, wait till the spring sports and winter sports come up, and I'm sure you guys are going to change.
Thanks so much, Coach, again for joining us.
Appreciate it.
All right, now it's time to look ahead to see what we got going for athletics this coming weekend. There is a ton, so get out those calendars. First, the volleyball 6-0 squad team heads to Colorado Springs to take on the Mountain Lions on Tuesday night. They'll then head to Salt Lake City on Saturday to take on the Griffins from Westminster College. That game takes place at 4 p.m. And remember, you can watch Coach Glenn and her team on the internet. If you can't make it out, just check out roadrunnersathletics.com to find the video links. Coach Hangstefer and his tennis squad head west to Grand Junction for the Colorado Mesa duels that will take place on Friday and on Saturday. Men's soccer hits the road for a pair of games. First to Rapid City to take on the South Dakota Mines on Friday. Then on Sunday, we'll take on inner-city rival Regis University at 2:30 p.m. Women's soccer is also on the road at rival Regis University, they will take on New Mexico Highlands on Friday and CSU Pueblo on Sunday. Find out if you can watch those games on our website by going to roadrunnersathletics.com. So a lot of road games for our Roadrunners this weekend, so be sure to come back next week on Monday from 5:30 to 6 p.m. as we'll recap everything that happened this weekend. For Coach Hangstefer, for Coach Oates, for Coach Tittle, and Hector Venegas, I'm Stephen Priest, and Eric Lansing as well doing camera for us. We'll see you next week on the Coach's Corner.
I pledge.
I pledge.
I pledge.
To identify situations in which sexual assault may occur.
To recognize that non-consensual sex is sexual assault.
I pledge.
I pledge. To create an environment in which sexual assault is unacceptable and survivors are supported.
To intervene in situations where consent has not or cannot be given.